All right, there we go. How's everybody doing? We're going to give this a second to let a few people tune in. Right before we get into today's sermon, if you could let me know that you can hear me and see me all right here on TikTok, here on Instagram as well, that would be helpful. How's everybody doing? All right, very good. There we go. Looks like we got a few people. Okay. Yeah, let's just make sure that we have audio, video. Also, welcome. Looks like we have Facebook up and running and YouTube up and running. Okay, Vanessa, hello. Saying I can hear you and see you. Okay. Melissa Subia, I can hear you and see you. Perfect. All right, thanks so much, guys. We're going to make a couple quick announcements while we let everybody tune in. So first off, we have the Psychic Mediumship course here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy. If you want to be trained in the lost language of psychic mediumship, empathic ability as well, and learn really how to use your intuition to heal other people, to give readings, or maybe you just want to better understand yourself, be able to communicate with your spirit loved ones, or you are aware that your intuitive intelligence has caused disorders and you want to get it in check. This is going to be the course for you. So you have two different tiers to learning, and we are evergreen, which means you could start at any time. You can go at your own pace. So go to psychicmediumshipcourse.com to get registered. Also, if you get registered, certified in anything through the Ivy League Psychic Academy or Roots Revival Interfaith, meaning the Reverendship, Tarot, Psychic Mediumship, okay, you are automatically up for hire through our events and Ivy's Healing Call Center. So check that out. We also have going on or coming up. Okay, so Astrology Basics taught by Christina DelRey, Reverend Christina DelRey, who's with us here today. Astrology Basics, how to read the big three. So if you don't really understand your sun, moon, and rising signs, Christina, do you want to speak on this for a minute?
Yes. Astrology is such a big area of study. Yeah. So it's really hard to know, like a lot of people are like, oh, I'm not like my sun sign, it's fake, and you really have to have a strong basis in the basics to understand the different layers. And this is like a great start. You will understand your moon, your rising, and your sun sign and how they go together. And also with house placement, it's a lot of information in one course, but it will give you enough information to be able to look at somebody's chart and start picking out what you can learn about them through these three signs.
Yeah, I have to say the biggest wake-up call for me, even though I've been studying astrology since I was like 13 years old, was when I realized how my sun sign is not the end-all be-all, how my rising sign actually speaks a lot more truth. To it just changed everything. So yes, check out this course with Christina. I've taken like 3 or 4 of her classes, and we brought her into the Ivy League Psychic Academy to teach these over the last decade. Every single one is amazing, but it's a 3-hour-long course on your big three. Learn it. Okay, you can go to ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com or ivyriverapsychicmedium.com to check that out. We also have going on or coming up Reverendship training. If you missed it, Roots Revival Interfaith is officially a federally recognized religion and church, and that allows me to offer the Reverendship. So for those of you who were here with me in November, 12th, I think, you got ordained. We'll be, dealing with weddings and baptisms and, funerals, very likely also, all kinds of spiritual life coaching and healing work. It's very exciting to have everyone on board for this. It was our first ever ordination here at Roots Revival, and it is also available for video download. So if you missed it, you can just go onto the website, ivyriverapsychicmedium.com, and become an ordained minister through Roots Revival. So we hope to see you for that. And we have Reiki training always available through video download. I will be announcing another date. We just did one about a month and a half ago. So if you're interested in getting certified in Reiki levels 1, 2, or getting your master's, and it's something you want to do here with us, that is something I'm going to be offering in person, online, live. Okay. But also, if you don't want to wait, you can get the video download anytime. All right. So that's also up on the website. And you can book a chart with Christina, an astrology chart. The information is here on YouTube at Ask Ivy if you want to log on here to be able to see the screen. She has her email up here. Okay, so cpakirski88@gmail.com. She's also at Ivy's Healing Call Center. So you can, again, just go right through the website. That's, 7 days a week. She's not there every day, but you can check her out there. If you want to book a reading with me or Reiki healing with me, you can go to ivyriverapsychicmedium.com. I think that's everything. Is that, Mary, is that everything we needed to announce? Our beautiful producer, Mary, is going to be handling your questions tonight. Okay, looks good. Mary's going to be taking your comments as well. All right. So I do encourage you guys to post whatever, comment you may have. It's going to help us out in the algorithm. If you have a question, we are going to be getting to those questions at the end of service. We are an interactive church. We also want you to post your prayer and healing requests. We're going to be getting to those. And if you're watching this later as a video, feel free always to post your questions and your healing requests. We continue to pray and manifest over you, and I'll be getting to those comment sections later as well. We do appreciate donations here always, and please do hit that like button. Okay, subscribe. And if you're interested in becoming a member, you're here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. You can hit the join button to look at the different tiers of membership options. All right. So welcome, everyone. I am your pastor, Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Arawak. This is Roots Revival Interfaith, where we believe in the 3 truths in the universe. That is intuitive intelligence, astrology, and numerology. If you focus on these 3 things in life, they will keep you on your life's path, AKA within your life contract, what you came here to do. You will also be able to heal yourself and ultimately go out with character and integrity to heal others. I am here with Reverend Christina DelRey, our astrologer. How are you, Christina?
Doing awesome. Happy to be here.
Always good to see you. So we are going to be talking today about fearing joy, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Now, when Spirit presented this to me, I thought, well, I don't know if people are really going to have a ton of interest in this sermon. Not that that ever matters, because we are to speak our truth regardless of reception. But I thought, I don't know if people are going to want to hear this, because it's a lot of work to pull yourself out of that pit if you are the kind of person who has built up a significant resistance to joy, to fun, to adventure, to laughter, right? To good health, to balance, to allowing love in your life. If you've done this, you have probably started that habit. It probably began from some type of trauma, loss, or misfortune. And in order to keep ourselves safe and protected from ever having to experience that feeling of loss or trauma again, we build up these walls of protection. And the easiest way to do it is to cut out joy. It's to cut out happiness. It's to cut out being open to new relationships, especially in our love lives. It's to make sure that you never get so high up that you could potentially have to fall back down. Right? What is that saying? I've never seen a bird fly so high that didn't have to come down sometime. All right. Well, that's true. And there are ups and downs, ebbs and flows to life in general. That is the nature of the human experience on earth. And there isn't a single one of us who's going to be able to avoid that. So whether you decide to stay sheltered and stagnant and down, low in your energy level, or you decide to embrace love and have fun and create inner peace and joy in your life, you're still going to fall. You're still going to have ebbs and flows. You're still going to go up and down. There is no avoiding it. So I think the easiest thing for us to start with today is just embracing that reality, accepting that it's happening regardless of your opinion on it. And instead of staying in a low vibration that you think is protecting you, start allowing yourself to bring in some of that higher vibrational energy so that you can gain some momentum in accomplishing things that you want in life. Because this is the other thing. I don't care how much people deny that they have a dream. I don't care how much they deny that they want love. I don't care how much you deny that you need to have some fun or engage in creativity, right? Or create change in your life that's fulfilling for you in the everyday. I don't care how much you want to act like you're a machine. You aren't. You are always a spiritual creature on planet Earth having a human experience, and you may as well learn how to roll with it. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to understand is that joy, including peace, because I think having inner peace is a sense of joy in itself, a more mature level of joy, but it is. Having joy, happiness, love, peace, stability in your life increases your energy level. It's biblical, it's measurable. We know this to be true. So if you are blocking happiness in your life, love, fun, you are probably pretty exhausted. I would love to see a raise of hands here in the comment section. And please, brothers and sisters, help each other out, share your experiences with each other. If you are one of these people, I would love to hear whether or not you are also exhausted. Okay, like exhausted on a soul level. Doesn't matter that you changed your diet. It doesn't matter that you're doing cardio. It doesn't matter that you have a juicing machine. It doesn't matter. You are exhausted, okay, in your soul. And the only way to get that up is to have some fun, to let some love in, okay, to let the sun shine on your face. So just be mindful. Number one, again, energy level does increase from allowing joy, love, and fun into your life, and it decreases when you block it. The other thing I really want to point out here is that failure, disappointments, making mistakes, having loss, trauma, pain, all the stuff we like the most about the human experience on earth. All these things are normal and they're natural, and they are part of your story, your opportunity in life to grow, to learn lessons, and to learn how to manage your energy levels, your nervous system, how you interact with the world. These are opportunities for maturity. And if you want to stay small, you want to stay infantile, you want to stay childlike, and just be a victim to it, have someone come rescue you, you're going to be very sad to learn that that day never arrives, because it isn't part of the human experience. What you're supposed to do is mature through these circumstances and eventually be able to give that guidance, that healing, that leadership out to other people. Okay, so there are levels in development. It's like, yes, I am crippled. I feel like garbage. I am suffering. Okay. And then it's like, yes, I am working with the energy. I'm transmuting it. I am alchemizing it. I am doing my best. I am breathing. I'm walking it out. And then it is, I have reached a point of maturity where I can actually assist others in their own journeys with this. If you're going to stay low, you're just not going to grow. Okay. So neither will the collective as much as it could if we had your help. I also want to remind people that, and I see this with my clients the most when I'm giving readings to my clients, or with a lot of my students actually. When you are refusing to embrace the possibility of love, let's say romantic is the most common thing. I am not going to date. I am not going back out there. Now, right now we're in a toxic climate, and I understand most people saying like, I don't want to get involved in this. Okay. That's fine. There are seasons for everything. However, if you've been doing this the majority of your life, or you do have potential options around you, people who want to love you, people who are capable of growth and development themselves, the potential for levels of intimacy that you haven't reached yet with other human beings, and you're just deciding not to because you were hurt in love, you're really saying that you don't want to fulfill your karma. You don't want to complete your life contract. You are okay with not being on path in life. That's fine. I'll sit on the sidelines. Now, I just want to remind everybody that if you do that continuously, you're going to get negative karmic kickback. So you're going to see stagnancy, not just in the area of life you're avoiding, fun, love, adventure, whatever. You're going to see it in all areas: health, mental health. We already talked about energy level. How about your money getting hit? How about your resources getting hit? How about networking deteriorating? How about residency issues? Okay. You're also sort of radiating that energy out to others around you. So I would expect to see deterioration even in the things you thought were doing well, other relationships. Okay. You can't do that. You can't come here to earth and decide indefinitely that you're not going to fulfill your life contract or your karmic debt. So, what the universe rewards is life, not stagnancy. So you got to live. Okay. If you are the kind of person who wants some type of recognition, honor, or you're waiting for good payout, being a martyr, it's not coming. This is, I want to say, the most common problem I see with students, with clients, is that they want to sacrifice their entire life for other people, or they want to surrender their life path and their life contract for a job or a career. They want to center a lover in a relationship or their kids in their life instead of taking any care of themselves. They are willing to be so out of balance in their life, in all areas, because they're a martyr, because they're giving. And they don't ever understand why they're not seeing prosperity, why they're deteriorating, why they're unhappy, why they seem bitter, okay, why they're irritated all the time, untrusting. Well, because this isn't rewarded. Martyrdom is not rewarded by the universe. So if the universe looks at you and says, wow, you're not doing any of the things you're supposed to do, you're not protecting yourself, you're not protecting your joy and feeding happiness and creativity, you're not going on any adventures, you're not having any fun, you're not loving, you're not genuinely loving other people, it's all manipulation and overgiving and toxicity that you tolerate, and you overreaching and control. What is that? The universe is going to say, you get nothing. You get nothing. So you will either stay stagnant or deteriorate. And again, the reason being that it's your responsibility to stay in balance. It's your responsibility to do self-care and self-love unapologetically every single day, with children, with the spouse, with a career. We all have these things, okay? There will always be something in the world that threatens to throw you off. and center it and prioritize it over yourself. And you can't do that. You have to hold yourself accountable. So, big wake up call on the martyrs out there. You get nothing. Okay. I would also say, and then I'm going to switch this over to Christina. So this is the last thing I want to say. Also, I want to remind you guys, if you're tuning in late, welcome. This is Roots Revival Interfaith. We are talking about fearing joy, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Please post your prayer requests. We appreciate donations. Post your questions and comments. We're an interactive church, so we're going to take your questions and comments at the end of service. And please give this video a thumbs up. Okay, so last thing I'm going to say, Christina, and then I'm going to switch it over to you. I want to say that in regards to relationships of any kind, it doesn't have to be romantic, but we see this most commonly with romantic partnerships. If you are fearing getting out there again and building new relationships, I think that you really need to analyze whether or not your self-esteem is in the gutter. Because people who will not go out there and open up to the possibility of connection with other human beings, you may be fearing that they're going to hurt you in the ways they hurt you in the past, which means essentially you have no confidence in your skill set. Okay. If you went through something traumatizing that someone did to you, you should be really smart by now. Your gut instinct should activate the minute you meet someone else who's going to do the same thing to you. You should have all types of red flags and cues, and your nervous system should go wild when you're around another toxic person like that. So it's not that hard. It's not really complicated, right? What you could decide to do is to ignore it, to put on rose-colored glasses, to say, red flags, I'm going to overlook it. Well, then that's on you. But the truth is, you knew better. So you should have more confidence in your instincts, in your discernment, in your judgment of other people who could potentially be harmful, especially if it's something you already experienced in the past. All right. So build up your self-esteem and knowing that you will know better. Also, even if you haven't gone through something, know that your protector guide is going to come in and let you know. Know that you have ancestors and loved ones on the other side that are going to come through and give you nightmares. They're going to show you numbers. You're going to have birds coming at you. There goes the cat. You're going to have all types of outside interaction with the world saying, alert, alert, alert. You're going in the wrong direction. This person is trying to lure you in. Run, run. What do you do in that case? Run. You don't need proof. You don't have to apologize for that. No is a complete answer. Heck, no. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. Now, the thing is, at least you got out there. At least you were trying, right? Keep getting out there. Just maybe not with that one person. It's not going to happen with everyone. There's a reason for that. Okay. Not everyone is toxic. Not everyone is hustling. I know it seems that everyone is, but not everyone is hustling. We're going to have a church service next month is going to be focused on unconditional love versus transactional love and our acceptance that unconditional love that maybe we got from our parents is gone. Adult relationships are in fact transactional, and we have to grow up and accept that. That doesn't mean everyone is toxic. Okay. So you may want to tune in for next month's sermon as well. I would also just say this, if you are fearing getting involved in relationships with other people, just modify it. If talking to other people, especially in love, activates your nervous system and you start to feel like you're spiraling out of control into anxiety or depression or whatever, maybe you just need to change the way you're doing it. You don't have to do it like everybody else does it. You don't have to do it like the other person wants you to do it. You don't have to do it like you used to do it. Create a new way to do it. A good example is like on a personal note, I've been dating since I was 9 years old. I know that sounds like insanity, but it's true. I've been dating since I was 9 years old. And I, up until a few months ago, never had a period of time in my life where I completely 100% said, I have no interest in this whatsoever. This is not entering my life. I'm not entertaining it. Now, I never centered it in my life, but just the fact that I entertained it and it was a low level energy in my life, right? I decided to modify it. So I've said no to that. However, I have friends now, that I used to date, and we are just strictly friendships now. And so I've changed those relationship dynamics, and they're very, very meaningful to me, maybe more so now than they ever were. You know, if I ever notice that I have a friend who seems to be going through something, I maybe sort of change the way I interact with that person or how much I interact with that person. There are a million different things that you could do. It does not always have to stay the same. So instead of saying yes or no, black or white, right or wrong, left or right, just be open to getting back out there and make it fit to where you are now. No one's going to ask. You don't owe anyone an explanation anyways. Christina?
Okay. Yeah, I really personally feel like it's our birthright to experience joy. I think that if we are denying ourselves joy, then we are, we're not, like you said, we're not living up to our life contract. And not everything's going to be joyful in this life, and we know that. So we really have to kind of grab onto those moments when we can. Sorry, my computer wants to restart. Let's not do that. And you talked about like caring for yourself, unapologetically. And I know that women all the time, this came through the patriarchy that we were supposed to be, sacrifice ourselves, be the martyrs, so that, we could take care of the children and be behind our man and everything. And times are changing. We all have to do it. We all got to change. So, we have to find joy. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you need to find that hour to go to Starbucks when your husband gets home, like I used to do. But, like you got to figure it out, like, and doing it in a creative way, like however you got to do it. You got to go in, and sometimes I would go in the hot tub for like 10 minutes, nobody bother me. So, you got to find that joy where you can. So if you're really clueless about, how to find your joy, you can start with your astrology chart. You can look at your Jupiter placement. The sign and the house is going to really kind of tell you, the house more so will tell you where you would find joy. For instance, my Jupiter's in the 9th house, which has to do with religion, philosophy, education. Those are things that I love. I love to educate myself. I love learn philosophies, different cultures, things like that. That brings me joy. That's a good place to start. Then you can look at your 5th house. 5th house is fun. Okay. And creative projects and stuff. So you take a look at that and you see what planets are in there. I think you have Pluto in there. So like transformation, finding joy in transforming things. But, even if you don't have any planets in there, you can look at what's on the cusp of it. And whatever's on the cusp, whatever planet rules that, will give you more information about how you find your joy as well. So there are ways to look in the chart. There's so many different areas, but then we have Saturn too. And it's kind of funny because people don't usually think of Saturn as the fun planet, right? Mm-hmm. Because Saturn's all about restriction and sacrifice. But if you don't ever do your Saturn work, you won't find the joy that Saturn offers, which is the work, the blood, the sweat, the tears, and then what you reap because of that, like you put yourself into your company, and all these years, and now, it's paying off, like those types of things. You raise a child, and then, you put the blood, sweat, tears in it, And and you have to take those little moments of joy that come. But the Saturn really, if you put your hard work into it, you put everything into it, you do make the sacrifices, you do deal with the restriction, there will be joy at the end of that too. So if we're only pursuing joy in the moment, then that's not what we're supposed to do with our life. We're not following our life contract. So we all know people who, evade working, evade bettering themselves, evade all that stuff, and they just want to go party, right? Or they just want to go, whatever. And that has consequences, huge consequences. And if you're not living your life, your life contract, you're not going to get the joy and the level of joy that you should have, because once you do all that Saturn work, that's a high level of joy. That's a high vibrational joy. And there's low vibration joy and high vibration joy and all that stuff too.
Also, I just want to say real quick, it's how long it lasts.
That's right.
Immediate gratification is not going to last very long. So you may have to redefine what joy is, but doing the hard work and putting in the effort, I mean, that is long-term joy.
That's right. And it's accomplishment. It's something that you can look at and you can say, I did this, and it brings me joy that I did this. I worked so hard, whether it be, like my master's degree, I did that. I put a lot of work into that. You know what I mean? So like, those are things that you also have to have. And there may be a period of time, depending on where Saturn is, where you don't experience a whole lot of joy because you are putting the blood, work, sweat, tears into it. I think, and I think back now and I'm like, the years I was raising my kids, not that they didn't bring me joy, because they did, but joy in a different way that was more like, I was happy for them. You're the mom, you're always, you want them to be happy and that makes you happy. Those kind of moments are joy. But joy for myself, I don't know, like it's almost like I had to wait until I really kind of raised them and felt comfortable with where they were, their mental health, their physical health. And then I felt like I could start enjoying myself again. So there are times, and that, and that could be because of where Saturn was placed in my chart, where it was transiting. But I feel like, eventually joy will come back. And you just, when you're in a Saturn transit where you have a long period of very little joy, take the little ones you can, go for the inner peace, probably more so. And you know that it will pay off eventually. And I think how to experience more joy. Oh, and I should say this about Saturn too. Saturn is the level up. So if you never do your Saturn work, so let's say that you have, you've always wanted to go to school for computer science or something, and then you just never did. Well, then you never did your Saturn work. So you're not going to get that kind of joy. You're not going to get that level up. It's usually through sacrifice and hard work that you get a level up. It's not just you kind of, hanging out, doing whatever. Like, that doesn't level you up.
Okay, so can I just stop you real quick? If we could do a quick recap on this. So they should be looking at their Saturn placement.
Yes, by birth.
Did you say Pluto placement?
No, Saturn and Jupiter, because Jupiter is going to give you where you want more, or where you're going to have more luck and pleasure, where Saturn is going to be those, and your Saturn work is going to be what your life contract is, basically your goals, what you're supposed to do.
Saturn, they should be looking at their Jupiter placement. Yeah. They should be looking at their ninth house and their fifth house.
Yeah, well, ninth house, yes. Yeah, I would say fifth house for everybody.
Okay.
Yeah. So Saturn, Jupiter, fifth house cusp.
Okay.
And I think that to experience more joy, if you are a person who's kind of down a lot and you just kind of fell into this rut where you just kind of can't get out of it, and you're like, my life is just doesn't have enough joy. This is how I did it. To experience more joy, I really had to change my mindset. I had to dive very deeply into gratitude. So, waking up in the morning, you know, and you're like, oh, I have a warm house to wake up in. Shoot. Can you hear me
We
still?
could still hear you,
Just can't see me. Okay.
but you're frozen. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I dove deeply into gratitude. I really tried hard to stop complaining and gossiping. You know, those are really toxic things, and they tend to really bring you down. And the more you gossip and complain with someone, you're going to find a friend in misery, and you're going to make more misery. And then, you know, it's just going to keep feeding, and it's going to keep going, and you're just going to be more miserable. So that would be an example of toxicity that you need to draw boundaries on, get rid of, purge. Several times a day, when I feel like I want to complain, I would stop myself and I would think of 3 things that I'm grateful for. You really, the key to that too is you really have to feel the gratitude. You can't just say, oh, I'm thankful for this and thankful for that. You have to be like, oh, so thankful, and then really feel the feeling of gratitude. And that is really the key there, because you have to go into that vibration in order to be in the vibrational frequency, because it is a frequency. Joy, inner peace, those are frequencies. And if you don't have them, some things need to be flipped around in your life.
And I think practicing on something simple is a good way to get really in connection with how to feel gratitude, not reading off a list in my head. It's not like I'm going through the motions, but it's meaningless and empty. I like to pay attention. I love food. So like every bite, like I'm really, I have to be careful with it, but I'm like, oh my God, or chocolate, like dangerous stuff, right? So like I really take those moments to get myself back in alignment with gratitude. Also, another easy way is like, I love my bed. I would literally never leave my bed. I only leave my bed if I have to. Every single time I crawl in my bed, I'm like, this is a moment for me to get in alignment with gratitude, because it's the warmth of the bed. It's my heating blankets. It's the way the cats come ceremoniously. We're all going to celebrate. It's the comfort. It's like, I made it. Even if I was only gone for an hour, I made it back here. There are ways that you can train yourself to really feel it on that level, and then you can branch that out into other areas.
And I really think that is true. And even just, okay, I have a car, I'm grateful. You know what I mean? Like, and because you have to start small to get bigger. It doesn't just happen. It's not going to just come to you. Right. You have to get into the vibrational frequency. You have to go up your frequency. You have to go above that one. Yeah. If you don't feel joy with a pure heart, you're going to rob yourself of joy. If you're not taking actions in your immediate life to get more joy, you're robbing yourself. If you're over sacrificing yourself, again, we see this over and over again, especially with moms. You're not leveling up. You're not doing what you're supposed to. And that is when all the autoimmune stuff and the health stuff comes, because you're taking care of everybody else except for yourself. You don't have any joy. Everybody might have joy around you, but you yourself don't have that joy. And you think, oh, well, I love taking care of my family, but do you though? Because you're sick. So, like you have to put boundaries on that. Yeah. And if you never make sacrifices and set goals and work towards them. So Saturn, we're talking about Saturn again, then you're robbing yourself of joy and leveling up. So don't rob yourself of that for other people. It's kind of what Ivy was saying earlier. I encourage you to learn more about your Jupiter and Saturn, and not just pursue Jupiter because it's easy. But that's a good place to start. And then what I would do, I would make a list of, easy things that bring me joy, like chocolate and food, like you were saying, like a show that you're watching, something like that. Hanging out with a certain person, you know what I mean? But I would also once you have that list, then I would make another list of things that intrigue you but scare you. And that is your Saturn list. So you have both lists because you can't just do one. You really need to do both. And anything in the Saturn column, the one that intrigues you and scares you, that is what's going to get you're going to improve your self-esteem. It's going to help you with your courage. It's, you know what I mean? And you can baby step it all the way, but it's the putting yourself out there, working really hard, trying to do things that are difficult, that's going to pay off in the end and bring you joy in the end. So that's astrology. Joy in astrology. And I really feel like fifth house is ruled naturally by Leo. So Leo tends to be a fun, like kid-like energy. So remembering to be a kid, no matter who you are or what your placements are, pretend you're a kid for a little while and see how that feels. Because that's a higher level too. You're going back to basics when you're a little kid, and you're just discovering and adventuring, and those are all really important things.
I see the hearts coming up in streams on that comment on all platforms here, so I love that. I think too, if you had a traumatic childhood and so you didn't ever learn how to have fun, you really weren't allowed. And you may have had experiences where if you were happy, it was beaten out of you, And I remember on a personal note, if my sister and I ever laughed and we shared a bedroom, my father would come up with the belt and hell was to be paid. Okay. So there was no way to be happy after that. If we so much as laughed, we were going to end up black and blue. And how do you take an experience like that into adulthood and really learn how to take care of yourself? How do you ever come out of a beating? You're living in a chronic state of beating because you start doing it to yourself. You're not allowed to laugh. You're not allowed to have fun. You're not allowed to do anything that would get your energy level up and get you wild and free like a kid should be, right? So Christina, when you said that, I mean, it just resonated on all platforms, right? Talking about, let's just recap what she just said. You feed your inner child and do it in simple, silly ways. And you even said, look into like Leo energy and astrology, like Leo's the fun one, right? And I really would say on a personal note, that is the only way to learn how to get back into it, is to look at your inner child and just say, what does my inner child want to do? What seems lighthearted, something that raises my vibration. I also just wanted to, when you said Saturn, this is another thing. So I teach about this a bit in other classes that we do. And it's that you could also grow up and reach a maturity level where what was fun, like the club, no longer is. Okay. The friends that you used to have a good time with, but it was all like partying, or it was nonsensical, or it was shallow. Maybe you've outgrown it. Maybe you decided to really go on your spiritual path in life and become like a healer or a light worker. And during that process, you became so enlightened, you really don't see in the same way that other people do that you used to connect with, because they can't see the community or that we're all one or how they're negatively impacting the world around them. They don't get it. They don't get the bigger picture. These are some key moments in people's lives where they reach a level of maturity, and what was once fun, and relationships for that matter, no longer fit. And you could become very isolated. It could feel like it's your dark night of the soul. And maybe it is. But when you pay attention to what Christina was talking about here with Saturn, it's a change, it's a shift in your awareness that some things do still hold your attention, that you do still fall down rabbit holes, that you can feel, I think the word she used was intrigued by certain things, and you should let yourself dive in, become immersed in those things. That's your new fun.
That's true. And I think, you know, like I was a kid who never had fun. I never smiled. Anybody who knows me from childhood always said I never smiled. I did not have fun as a child at all. Childhood was basically pretty miserable for me. And I think now I'm just learning how to be a child. My own children helped. And then, you know, asking your spirit guides to bring you people into your life who are fun, who, you know, understand your kind of fun. And again, if you're talking about meeting a partner, you know, we talked a little bit about dating and things like that. You know, finding somebody who has a Mercury that's compatible with yours, you know, like that's a big deal. And because if your Mercuries are in different, if they're not compatible, you're probably not going to find the same fun together. So, and I've learned this the hard way. I'm almost 50, and now I've realized this. So, learn before me. And if your Mercury, you know, if your Mercuries are not compatible, that's going to be significant for your fun. You know, like it's going to be hard to have fun, probably. So.
And what does everybody look like when they look at a synergy chart? They're looking at the Mars because they want to know how good they're going to do in the bedroom, right? They want to look at the moon because they want to talk all about their emotions. But yeah, how about fun? And that is such an awakening, I think, for women, especially at this point, at this stage where we are. We want to have more fun in all of this, or it's not worth it. It's a drain. Yeah.
Yeah. And I, you know, I really never gave that much importance to Mercury as I do now, but I almost think it's more important. Right. So yeah, like Venus is a huge one too. You know, how do you like to be loved? And you know, what are your love needs, I guess? And you know, Mars, of course, in the bedroom. But the rising sign, you know, you want to look at the chart ruler, you know, if you are looking, you know, if you're looking at if you're a Leo and you're looking at a Capricorn, you know, you're going to have some challenges there. So you gotta look at the whole chart. But I would start with if communication's important to you and fun is important to you, I'd look at the Mercuries, see if they're compatible.
Love that. I just
you're never gonna. What I realized is you don't. If your Mercuries aren't compatible, you don't get each other.
Yeah.
So.
God, it's so true.
Yeah.
It is so true. I think of anyone I've ever dated, and you know, some were longer, and I was just like, there was always something off, and it was always they didn't get my humor.
Yeah,
or they were trying to out funny me. They had to be the stand-up comedian, and like humor was a competition for them, and they were like offended by my humor, like I was funnier than they were or something. And then it was always like there was just always something off about the way we couldn't really just become childlike. And a lot of times with these types of relationships, you know, they start off and it feels like you're safe person. It's bam, 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 bam in the beginning, but then it turns into something weird, you know. It's so interesting.
Yeah, I think like you and I have compatible Mercuries, and it shows.
Do we? I was going to say, because I love you, Christina. I mean, you know that. But when you talk about your childhood, and I know we have such similar pasts, we don't have to get into it here today in front of, you know, everyone. But like, I feel that with you. And I didn't know that about the astrology, but I feel like we fall down rabbit hole. It's like what we've been doing since the day we met, right? Like we're so into this, we're so into that, we're so into like, and it really does keep it alive and fun. Like our relationship is effortless. You know, there's nothing.
And we're goofy, and you know what I mean, and we just get it. So I just think it's super important. And I guess you know, I'm always learning as an astrologer. So I guess I never really gave that much, you know, weight, but now I weight it very heavily.
Heck yeah. Also, I just want to real quick before we move into your questions and comments. So if you guys did not post your questions and comments, prayer and healing requests, please do so now. We're about to take them. Donations are appreciated. Give this video a thumbs up, drop any kind of comment because it helps us out in the algorithm, and subscribe. Christina also brought up toxicity, avoiding toxicity in not just your other relationships. If there are bad habits, whether it be like gossiping, talking about your problems chronically, but never fixing them, just being out of balance, but any aspect of your life where you're feeding something toxic. And I would highly warn everyone of this one: avoidant or escapist tendencies. Do you overeat? Do you overdrink? Do you overconsume anything? I don't care if it's porn, cake, okay, whatever it is. If you're video games, okay, if you're doing this, it's really going to suck the energy, the life and the joy out of you. And you could be looking around like, why am I so unhappy? And it's really, like she said, the toxicity that you're feeding.
Boundaries too, you know what I mean? It's not like you can't enjoy video games, but if you're all day every day, then there's no boundary there, so that's gonna suck it out of you. That's the thing with everything, really. Like, you have to have boundaries on it. Like, you can go do your Jupiter fun, you're fun in the moment, but if you just constantly are pursuing that, then that's not boundaries. So you have to have these boundaries, and that's what we're learning right now with Saturn and Pisces. We're trying to learn. Pisces is just classic for overeating or indulging in anything. But Saturn comes in, and Saturn only goes once every 28 years through a sign. So now Saturn is actually Saturn's at 0 degrees Pisces right now, and it's getting and then I can't remember when it turns direct, but it's putting boundaries on things like overindulgence, like religion. It's putting boundaries on these things that, like, normally we don't really have boundaries, because Pisces is very lax with boundaries, but Saturn's all about boundaries. So now we have Saturn in Pisces. So it's like, make the most of this as far as boundary setting, because I don't know, like, I mean, if you are feeling the boundary setting now, you're feeling that Saturn in Pisces, and it's somewhere in your chart you have to put boundaries around, so that you can experience fun. But
if the universe is assisting you right now, astrologically, if you're assisted in breaking a bad habit, a generational curse, right, alcoholism, whatever. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to happen for everybody, but my God, if you can have a little assistance, right, take advantage.
And just create those boundaries. You just got to do it. Sometimes you just got to do what is uncomfortable. That is Saturn. You got to do it even though it's uncomfortable.
All right, we're going to get into amen. I mean, huge. I love that. I didn't know that, but I see a lot of people breaking bad habits. A lot of my clients are like talking like they're new people. And I'm like, geez, for 8 years, they were acting like this, and now maybe it's got to be that.
Saturn will restrict it. Right. Whatever that is. And then hopefully, boundaries on it, whatever it is. And then hopefully, you have it in moderation, because anything in excess, it can't really be helpful.
All right, we're going to get to questions and comments. Mary, our beautiful producer, can start popping these up right now. So we've got one from a Donnie Colley. Do you know why one might experience social anxiety? I feel very in tune with myself, and I find this hard to understand. So, when you're in tune with yourself, it sort of speaks to an intelligence level that you may have in regards to emotional intelligence, right? Self-intelligence, as you said, but also intuitive intelligence. And when we have intuitive intelligence, we typically have anxiety disorders. So in the beginning of the service, I was inviting people to join in my psychic mediumship class. Many of the students who do come here are here because they have these disorders. Now, I'm not saying that disorders don't exist, but I am saying often at the root cause of them, especially social anxiety, any type of major anxiety disorder, it is intuition. In this case, what we're talking about is high-level empathic ability, 3-4. For you, I would check out the empathic awareness class up on my website and get your boundaries in check. Learn how to block out other people's energy and learn all the ways you've been absorbing unwittingly and how you can transfer that energy back out and get yourself cleansed, rooted, and grounded. If you can learn how to master this, and it typically takes about 3 months to apply the tools, if you can learn how to master it, social anxiety does not necessarily entirely dissolve in your life. But when you recognize it's coming, you sort of know why, and you are able immediately to transform it and transfer the way that you think about it into something far more productive and enjoyable for you, because You deserve to enjoy other people. You deserve to enjoy every minute of your life and your experiences. And people are a big part of that. Okay. So we want you centered and in control. And the fact that you're intuitive and that's so neglected and abused by society is something you just need to overcome. Okay. It's a lot of deprogramming. Christina, do you want to say anything to him about this?
Yeah, I do suffer with anxiety and social anxiety in particular, but I live in my bubble. I live in my, my white bubble. I just put the white light around me. And empathic means that's the best thing. Did I tell you I watched it again like 2 months ago?
What's that?
It's your class.
Empathic awareness?
Yes, empathic awareness.
No, you didn't tell me that.
Yeah, I did, because I was just like, I needed a refresher.
Yes.
So I definitely went and watched it again. But that's definitely going to teach you everything you need to know.
There you go. Empathic awareness training is, and I teach this at universities and I train teachers, I train therapists in how to apply this. So, it's really simple in a 2-hour training. But yeah, like Christina said, she went back, she hasn't listened to it in a couple years, whatever. You hear something different every time and you're at a different level every time you go back to listen to it. So it really will change your life. Okay. But yeah, that's a great question with the social anxiety, because it can give the appearance that you don't enjoy relationships, and you do. You just need to control the energy better. All right, we have another one coming in. Another question coming in question or comment from a Hunter Santiago. What are some things we can do while being single that help us align with ourselves and the right people and situations? Well, Christina, do you want to take that one first? Or do you want me to go first?
I can. I would say, let's see, as single, help align yourselves. Well, you have to really decide what you want. This is how I did it. I decided what I wanted. I made a list, and then I went into the quantum, like clear the mind out. Pushed my energy up. I went into that really, really far realm, that very high vibrational realm, and I put it out into the universe, and I kind of left it there. And I just put it out there, and I asked my spirit guides to help me find this person. It's interesting with meeting people, though, because astrologically, we are meant to meet certain people when we're meant to meet them. So we will meet them when we need to. But to align yourself, I would say, meditate, or, if you're not a meditative person, do something that makes you feel like you're meditating, like running or whatever it is for you. And just get into that space where you're putting it out into the universe, and you're believing the universe is going to bring it back to you, and then talk to your spirit guides.
I love that. I was going to say, too, talk to your relationship guide. So your relationship guide oversees, obviously, all of your relationships, as well as your relationship to yourself, and is also able to help you in understanding what relationships you have contracts with. So one of the things that I like to do is, whether I'm single or I'm dating or whatever, I like to always focus on the people in my life that I have a contract with, soulmate, soul tribe, karmic, whatever. And I really don't give attention to others. I really don't. I know it's not super important. People of all walks will, approach you in life. People don't tend to be very mindful of contracts at all. So just remember, all that glitters is not gold. Don't waste your energy on everything. I would also just say that it's also really important to focus on what you want, centering yourself, what makes you happy. I tend to not really, even if I'm in a relationship, I tend to never be willing to just center that other person. So really keep it focused 24/7, your entire life, on you. Every relationship that you have, whether it be your children, a lover, your parents, whatever, right? These are not extensions of you. That's not what's going on there. So never give them too much of your time, attention, energy, affection. Keep it in balance, and always be cultivating what it is that you want to grow, discover, learn about your own self and where you're going. Yeah. So it's really kind of like saying focus on you instead of them at all, Okay. And we're going to move on to another question here from Chris from TikTok. Said that this service was exactly what was needed to be heard today. You are all great and you are both appreciated. Thank you so much, Chris. We appreciate having you here and the feedback. Absolutely. I think it was very needed, especially, and just let me add, we have a lot of things going on in the world right now. Okay, we always do. But right now, people are a little bit more aware than what they were before. And when something like that happens, we need to embrace it and say, this is part of the revolution. Amen, that the day has arrived. Okay, toxic and horrible as it may all be, we have to wake up. And when that's happening, it can create such a sense of suffering, especially when you feel like you can't do anything to help. Okay, when you can't step in and make it right in the world and other people are going through so much. We have survivor's guilt. We can very quickly start to make ourselves feel as though we aren't deserving of joy. You know, if others in the world are suffering and are in pain and the world is in a terrible state, we should suffer too. That is not going to fix anything. You can't do that. So I really do think that the timing is perfect on this. Anything you want to add to that, Christina? We want to move on to another one.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay, so we have another one coming in here from Nicole Whitehead. Advice on integrating back into the public after awakening, having a death, and a rebirth. Christina, you want to answer that one?
Yeah, that's a hard one. You're a new person now. So, yeah, you have to live like a new person. That's after like a really like a, it's almost like after a dark night of the soul type situation. I would say, you know, watch your circle, you know, be careful who you keep close to you because you made all that progress. You don't want to, you know, you want to do the empathic awareness class, and then you want to protect yourself, self-protection. Find your new joy, because I know after an awakening, a death, a rebirth, it's almost like you've become a new person. So it's like you have to get to know yourself all over again and what you need.
I would also recommend you check out here on YouTube at Ask Ivy. I have a class called Fighting the Dark. There's a part 1 and a part 2. You may appreciate the part 2 more than the part 1, but you have to kind of start at the beginning. Okay, so part 2 is designed for people who have gone through significant awakening, who are doing light work or healing and things like that. But when we talk about in Fighting the Dark, again, it's a free class here on YouTube. What we're really talking about is leveling up. And with every new level, there's a new devil. And just like Christina said, watch your circle. Because the second you level up, or even if you're about to level up, you're going to go through 5 different systems of attack. And often it hits you in the bed. Okay, so be careful, especially with lovers. Be careful making new friends. That may not be the best time to make new friends. Don't push yourself so far out there that it looks like what you used to live, or what you used to expect, or what everyone else is expecting of you. You know, take it like eating an elephant, one bite at a time, one moment at a time, and really stay centered and mindful about what you're feeling every step along the way. I would also say that class is going to teach you the 5 different ways of attack and how to protect yourself, because the second you level up, here it comes to set you back. But it's also about not spending as much time on things. I don't know, Christina, if you noticed this too, but anytime you went through like a major Kundalini or download or awakening, did you notice that you could do things for like just shorter periods of time, whether it be social or, I mean, really anything?
I think like I'm less patient in far as like I want things to go quicker. So Fighting the Dark is my absolute favorite class, by the way. So
Is it?
both of them.
I love it.
Yeah, it's my 100%. It's my go-to. It's what I tell everybody to watch. So
Awesome. Yeah. So Fighting the Dark, but you know, yeah, it's like you change, like Christina's calling it patience. I feel like for me, it's almost like I have ADD. I don't know where my attention span went, but I swear to God, I can do things for like a quarter of the amount of time I used to be able to do them. I am in and I am out. I can't watch a movie. I can't be social for more than 20 minutes. I can't do, and I just have learned to embrace that, or else it really sucks the life out of me. So it's like bounce, 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 bounce. Okay. Figure out your new comfort zone in everything. It may be hard for you to even do things like sit at a restaurant through an entire meal. If it takes that waiter 20 minutes to get to your table and bring the drinks, you're probably just going to be like, I'm out of here. I can't do this, and that's okay.
The things that brought you joy too, like shopping used to bring me such joy. I hate it now, hate it. So it's just like, you just become a different person altogether, and it's tough to reintegrate into. You have to really find like minds. It's tough.
Yep. Online shopping. All right. And we have another question or comment coming in here. We have another one from a Vanessa. Thank you for always doing these. Always very informative. I appreciate you both. Thank you, Vanessa. We appreciate you too. And do we have any more? One from Adele says, stay positive and keep moving forward. Have a great Thanksgiving. Yes. Thank you, Dale. You too. So yeah, staying positive and moving forward is, what is in motion will stay in motion. And I understand that sometimes we're feeling like we're not moving at all. Okay. But as long as you're keeping a positive attitude, you're staying in alignment with faith, you're going toward love versus fear. Okay. Don't forget fear, right? Is ego, fear, manipulation, and control. As long as you stay out of that energy and you're just doing the best you can, it is going to help. And you are moving in the right direction. Do you have anything to add to those, Christina?
No, just watch the class.
Which, the Fighting the Dark?
Yes.
Yeah, Fighting the Dark. Watch it, guys. That was divinely channeled, if I've ever seen anything divinely channeled, right? Crazy, crazy. So we have any more questions or comments coming in here? Again, if you guys have not dropped your prayer and healing requests, please do so. Christina and I do pray and manifest over those, okay? And we will continue to do that for several weeks. All right, my Maisha says, after watching Fighting the Dark, I felt like I was really under attack from negative energy, especially at night in bed. Yeah. So, one of the things that happens is any negative energy in the universe, and this could be living people who are good energy manipulators, who are obsessed with astro travel, who have no sense of boundaries, creepers. Okay. They're everywhere. You could find that whether it be those people or it be negative, low level spiritual spirit energy, paranormal activity, whatever it is, it could also be your higher mind. Okay. Toxic aspects of your higher mind that you haven't done the shadow work in, or, you need to do some healing work from your past lives, for example. Everything comes up at night when you're asleep. Why is that? Well, because your guard is down. You're vulnerable. You have to watch your sleep state. I was just having a conversation with a friend of mine today where we were talking about lucid dreaming versus astro travel. And I was saying to him how frustrated I am. My lucid techniques are not as good when I'm in astro travel, and it annoys me. And I can't imagine being able to function at all in my life if I did not decide how I was going to dream before I fell asleep. And if I wake up and I'm in the middle of a nightmare, how to get control over that by using lucid dreaming techniques. And there are levels to this. Check out the Dreams class up on my website. Dreams is 2 hours. It's going to train you in astral, lucid. You have to control that time. That's your sacred space to heal. It's also your point of attack.
Oh, I love that. So many times, because you are vulnerable. And, you have to put the boundaries up, a good house cleanse when you're going through transformation and, putting those boundaries in there. This is my space. Love it.
100%. And I had a couple rough weeks because I was sick and I had the flu and I was having terrible nightmares. I haven't had a fever in, I can't remember when, and it messed me up. So I just the other day washed all my sheets, all my pillowcases. I cleansed everything out. Like Christina said, cleanse your space. Okay. Make that sacred. And I slept like a baby. What other questions or comments do we have coming in here? Okay, so we are at time. So closing. Upon closing, Christina, do you have any final words? Or you want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I don't have any. What would I say? What would my closing? I guess if I were to say anything is really important that you take with you, here from this sermon today, it would be that you be bold enough to get comfortable in the discomfort and do an analysis on where you've been, what has happened to you. Now, for a lot of you, if you have trauma, like I talk about my childhood trauma, every time my sister and I laughed, my father came in to beat the life out of us. Okay. That I remember. Okay. But there are a million other things I was blocking out during that time. And I have major gaps in my memory of my entire childhood. I can remember almost nothing. Now, if you went through something traumatic like that or anything in adulthood, even, you may not remember all the details. It can become really hard for you to pinpoint the root issue, whatever is underlying that causes you to stifle your happiness or not want to put yourself out there, not want to invest in new things, stay in your room, stay hibernating because it's safe. Okay. You don't want to experience pain or loss again. You may need to talk to a therapist. It can also cause PTSD. And for those of you, anyone else here have PTSD? Okay, I have PTSD and OCD. I was diagnosed when I was very small. So when you have something like this, it can make it harder and harder and harder for you to pinpoint what's irritating you and how to get into a state of joy or inner peace, because you're in sort of a chronic state of anxiety and pressure is irritating you. I would say that getting professional help to break it down is really going to help you move forward leaps and bounds, just to get your foot in the door so you could start letting joy in. You can start letting love in. You can start feeding your inner child. And once you do it, it can really kind of take on a life form of its own, because don't forget, what the universe supports, okay, it's going to grow. Yeah. Christina, closing words?
I would say definitely deal with your traumas. If you are still scared to go out, if you're still, you either need a therapist or you need to do the work yourself. I know, like back when I was growing up, showing my age, but therapists were considered only crazy people went to them. Right. So when I went to college, I knew my mental health wasn't great. So I minored in psychology to try to help myself, get my mind. And it did. It really helped out a lot. It helped me with forgiveness and all this stuff. We didn't have TikTok, we didn't have all these things. But you have to take the initiative to bring that joy back into your life, and you won't really experience joy until the trauma is dealt with. So hopefully you can recognize that about yourself and, just do something about it. Yep.
Amen. So you got to start somewhere. I would say keep it simple. Okay. Start with that one thing. Start figuring out what went wrong. Know that things will always go wrong, accept it. Right. And start there, bringing healing and stepping out in one area. And
there's nothing better than to be free from that. Right. That's the best feeling. So
it is amazing. Alchemy at its best. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning into Roots Revival Interfaith. We hope to see you for the Reverendship training, the Big 3. Also, Christina teaches tarot here at the Ivy League Psychic Academy, so check out her class, check out my Psychic Mediumship course, and like always, there are a ton of free classes on everything we were talking about here today on my YouTube channel at Ask Ivy in the mini classes. Christina, thank you so much. Always awesome to do service with you. Thank you, Mary, our producer. Thank you, Spirit. We'll see you guys soon. Have a good night.